Hello, you're listening to Tony Slattery's Rambling Club, and you're most welcome.
Hello, my name's Paul Carmichael.
And I'm Alan Lear.
And we are wandering up the path towards the presidential shed, but there's quite a lot of debris about. There's been a bit of stormy weather recently, hasn't there, Alan?
Yes, Storm Derek came through last night, and the chimney pots are everywhere, the slates are all down, there's twigs and branches all over the shop.
So, there he is, leading the clean-up operation. There he is, the president of the Rambling Club. Tony, how are you? You're looking a bit, bedraggled.
I am a bit bedraggled. That was Force 13 on the Beaufort scale. That doesn't exist, but it means ships are depizzered. That's a neologism. They don't just disappear, they burst into flames. Oh, it was a wild and windy night. And I've cleared up as much as I can, and you're most welcome to come into my shed where it's a bit calmer, because I've had it all clad in stone on the outside and the inside, and iron bars, and 14 feet concrete blocks.
This sounds more like somewhere you might imprison someone.
Well, I've always regarded myself as a bit of a shy wallflower, so, I mean, that's how I like to live anyway, apart from having my guests. Hello, guests.
Hello. Shall we head into Tony's freshly renovated mausoleum and see what's going on?
Yeah, let's cross the drawbridge and enter. In we go. Well, here we are. I mean, it still has the usual cosy familiarity, Tony, I'm glad to see.
Oh, well, yes. I mean, wasn't there a shop called Heels? No, you're not posh enough. Anyway, it's anyway, that's where I got my fabrics from. There's a bit of Le Corbusier going on. Oh, that Coco Chanel heart-shaped thing, that's the original.
Oh.
I'm just going to warm myself by your peat fire, Tony. I see today you're burning Peter Davison. I highly approve.
Yes, he no complaints from him. He enjoys the attention.
Well, while we leave Peter to slowly roast, how about we spin the bingo machine and take a ramble and see what happens?
Okay.
Off we go.
Tony's enchanted bingo machine. A curious contraption of cogs, levers and glowing buttons that hums with ominous energy. This machine generates 3 completely random numbers. These numbers are fed directly into the Dewey Decimal System, the arcane reference system by which books and their contents are categorized. In this way, the bingo machine conjures from thin air a topic of conversation so enthralling, so wildly unexpected, that it leaves the members of the Rambling Club both bewildered and vaguely excited. Thus, another evening is saved from the brink of boredom, thanks to Tony's marvellous, possibly haunted and entirely inexplicable bingo machine.
Well, here we are in our first location in the great outdoors, ready to begin our first ramble. And the numbers selected by the machine are
5, 2, 7.
5, 2, 7. So a quick tap of this switch and we will be told that the subject is celestial navigation.
Ooh.
Celestial navigation.
Well, now, my favourite film is Stargate, the one with starring James Spader and the guy, Ra, who comes down from it in a pyramid. He's from the past and the future, and I was in a play once, and it was a good play, and I came outside the stage door, and who was waiting for you? James Spader, the star of the film, and a very well-known, and he just asked me for an autograph, and I said, would you like to come for a drink? So we went to the Groucho Club and we talked about Stargate. Now the question was, because I was watching a program about the pyramids, and they are all about celestial navigation, and also the fact that Egyptologists are gradually going towards the idea that they are in fact batteries, like in the Mayan Empire and the Aztecs, and ziggurats, which were from, Alan, ziggurats were...
Incan and Mayan culture, weren't they? South American.
Right.
The great ziggurat of Ur. Where was that? Mesopotamia?
That was Ur.
Yeah. It was Ur. Yeah.
One of the oldest cities, allegedly, in the world. There was a royal game of Ur, which I once got for Christmas, and it's just a board with symbols on it, and it's quite a fun game. Nowhere near as complicated as chess, but you still have to think a lot. But they, all the things we've talked about, they pointed to the skies, they accurately predicted seasonal developments on Earth, and it all comes down to the fact that we are a colonised country from space. And they always seem to mention Orion, which is obviously, as any schoolboy know, one of the best and easiest thing to espy in the night sky.
It's Graham Hancock, I think, is the writer, who has written a lot about that idea that we've had, that there's been a great civilization before, influenced potentially by from space, if you like. I don't know how I feel about that, because I always think, well, why couldn't we have done it ourselves?
Because we were thick.
Oh, okay.
In comparison to the advanced
That
civilization.
is fair.
Yes.
But it's the same issue as the panspermia thing, isn't it? Panspermia is the idea that life on Earth was seeded from another planet or solar system or galaxy. And this is used sometimes as the basis of how come there is life on Earth? Oh, panspermia, life on Earth was seeded from another place. And what critics of this idea say is that it just pushes the problem back one step, because then the next question becomes, well, how did that life begin? Is it panspermia again? And if so, how did that life begin? Is it just is it turtles all the way down?
Panspermia
was not the most successful shampoo that's ever been sold, no.
Oh, well, you may know of that. No, it was a club in Old Compton Street in London for men of a certain age. But maybe that was a dream.
No, maybe it was.
Maybe. No, but these panspermia, well, look at, say, Quatermass in the Pit.
Okay.
That was panspermia. Mars was dying. It was run by locusts. I can't remember quite. I know the film, obviously. The locusts were dying out of things, like other locusts, and they were dying and they had no food, so they panspermitized. Will that do?
That'll do as the verb, yes.
The earth, and they inseminated the primates as they were on the evolutional stairway, and then they got in a kind of fab 1950s spaceship, from this island Earth and that kind of thing, that kind of shape, and then they crashed it in the London Underground as a place near Hobbs End. It was called Hobbs End, but it was scratched out, and from Hobbs to Hob, H-O-B, which old-fashioned name for the devil, and that's why it's a great film. But the principle of panspermia was at the centre of that very piece.
But the thing about the pyramids, when they're held up as a miracle of now forgotten technology, the thing that people forget about the pyramids is that they were so economically ruinous for the Egyptians that they stopped building them as soon as they possibly could. And the Great Pyramid of Cheops was ancient in Cleopatra's day. It was as old then as Cleopatra is now, and the pyramids took so long to build and were so costly that it would often take longer than the pharaoh's life, who was going to be buried there, for their pyramid to be constructed. So what they did eventually is they discovered the Valley of the Kings, and the thing about the Valley of the Kings is it's got a rock formation right at the top that kind of looks a bit like a pyramid if you squint. And the Egyptians went, that's good enough, we'll bury them all under that instead. And the thing about the burial of the Valley of the Kings, which I found interesting, is they never kept a record of where any of the pharaohs were buried there, so that no treasure seeker could find out the location of the tomb and despoil it. And as a consequence, Tutankhamun's tomb was discovered and was filleted. But there was another tomb directly underneath it. They didn't know they'd built Tutankhamun's tomb right on top of somebody else's. And as a consequence, because the tomb hunters had found the tomb there, the one directly underneath it, they assumed there was nothing there. And so it was perfectly preserved. You can still go there now. It was never opened until the modern era. And all the lapis lazuli decorations on the wall are still richly vibrant in colour because it's just sat undisturbed for 2,000 years. Everyone assumed they'd emptied out all the tombs in that little area and moved on to look elsewhere.
Which brings us on to Eric von Daniken.
Yeah.
Did anyone read him?
Chariots of the Gods.
Chariots of the Gods, which, of course, I read avidly, as did any teenage boy or girl who was fascinated by it. And it was one of the first films really to break into public knowledge and have this interest. But then, when one gains, say, a few years of wisdom, you can read it again and think, really? That's quite the assumption to make. That's quite the rhythm of alphabetical jumpiness. Sorry, this is all just coming out of my head. You know, A equals B equals, and you discover actually it's not, especially with phrases like churches have spires because aliens came to the earth in rockets. And that seemed fine at the time, but I think aliens probably didn't come to earth in rockets. They probably came to earth all these billions of years ago in things which either were invisible or were known by no known law that we could possibly understand. If they came by rockets, they would just crash into the sea like that early The Man in the Moon.
There's one thing missing.
Or the Martians in H.G. Wells.
That's right.
The rockets land, but you can't launch them again.
No.
There's one thing missing in all of this. And it's,
God.
Well, no, he'll be there somewhere. No. It's the same thing that is missing when people try to tell me that the Earl of Oxford wrote Shakespeare. And the one thing that is missing is evidence.
Yeah.
There's no actual evidence, is there? That's the problem. So that it's a lovely, sort of fascinating idea. But it seems to be being adopted an awful lot as fact. And that's where you go, oh, right. That's unsettling when people don't question it, I find.
Yeah.
We were at a convention a while ago, and it was, I think, Geoffrey Beaver, Catweasel, was he? Who'd been one of the masters in Doctor Who. But for some reason, they asked him what he thought of the Oxfordian theory. And he said he thought it was just class war. It was just snobs saying, there's no way a glove maker's son could possibly have written this world-beating poetry. It must have been a posh twat who did it.
I completely agree with that. Derek Jacobi, on the other hand, is convinced.
Is a fierce anti-Shakespearean, isn't he?
Is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Rude. But, yeah. What about, all right, so celestial travel. I mean, these days you do have the option. You could do that if you had enough money, of course, because it ultimately depends on that. But Elon Musk will fly you up and you can have a look from space back down at the Earth. Would you?
No, because I've seen the pictures, and I find that the seats they look very uncomfortable. They're not flattering at all. You have to defecate and piss without going to the toilet, and even when you can, even with the station, you have to sit on the wall, and it's all sucked out. And I don't find it. No. I've seen pictures of the Earth, and it looks wonderful. And as nothing can go faster than the speed of light. That's the Large Hadron Collider is still trying to prove that you can, and they haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
Al, you frowned there as if to say, Tony, you know nothing.
Well,
the way you always frown. We've known each other many years.
I don't know that the Large Hadron Collider is trying to prove that anything can travel faster than the speed of light.
No, but if anywhere could, it will be there.
Yes, yeah. I mean, they fire particles at an appreciable fraction of the speed of light, I believe. But
I'm afraid that's not good enough.
You're
fired.
No,
Your job here.
You are absolutely right. The theory of relativity.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
The theory of relativity states that mass increases as you approach the speed of light. So any object that has mass, which is to say any object, would become infinitely massive if it travelled at the speed of light, which it can't. Which is why light travels as both a particle and a wave. The particle would be massless. But I was going to say, no, I wouldn't go to space on an Elon Musk rocket for the simple reason that Tesla cars have killed a greater fraction of their owners than the Ford Pinto ever did. So, I would love to see the Earth from space, but I would prefer somebody who can actually build rockets to maybe do it for me.
Maybe wait for a sort of a British Rail equivalent.
That's not bad.
That would do.
Yeah, or I might even risk Virgin Galactic if that's still a thing. But
that was for a while, wasn't it?
That was for a while.
Got a little bit quiet.
I mean, considering the trouble Branson had with hot air balloons and trains, it's not a surprise that he's never got anywhere near a working rocket.
Well, I think the main thing about Richard Branson is that he's never come to terms, and he still sticks to it, his catastrophic taste in daytime leisure wear. I think that put a real boot in the whole thing. And also there's the beard thing, the hair thing, what to do with it. You couldn't get a space helmet over that.
He does have the Noel Edmonds bouffant going on, doesn't he?
Yes, that's right.
The only thing I remember from my A-level economics class was when the teacher informed us that Mates condoms were made by Richard Branson's company. Because obviously, he's not going to brand them Virgin condoms.
No.
So they were Mates, but the V of Virgin was in the middle of the
that
M.
would make sense then.
Virgin condoms.
Virgin condoms. That means no one could get pregnant. 100% success.
Well, yeah, but if you're a virgin, you don't need condoms.
Well, what if you get excited by the use of a condom, whether it's needed or not?
That is its own issue, I think. That is what we call a paraphilia these days.
No, that's paraphilia is very judgmental.
Should we move on from that?
Okay, but listeners, look into paraphilias and see.
Do not look into paraphilias.
Look into paraphilias and see if they are as sadistic and painful and world-changing and utterly disgusting as this Puritan, as Alan has now become. Look into paraphilias which are utterly harmful. You could play them with children or your pets or nuns.
Do not look up acrotomophilia. That is my advice.
Oh, my advice is do. I didn't know about it, but Alan's just shot himself in the foot. Could you repeat it?
Acrotomophilia.
Okay, look that up.
Sexual
Get back
arousal
to it.
caused
Yeah,
by
you don't need to
amputees.
explain it. That just removes the... Alan, you're being very bruising today. First you mention this appalling thing, then you say don't look it up, and then you explain it. What kind of rabid mind have we inside this house at the moment?
I think if you don't explain it, it makes people more likely to look it up.
Yes, but you just said don't
look it up. I'm trying to encourage people not to look it up, which is why I explained it.
No, there are so many theo-philosophical arguments in which your general thesis has collapsed.
I'll take
Shall
your
we
word
move
for it.
on?
Let's move on.
Well, here we are, ready for another ramble, and the numbers are
1, 4, 8.
148, and the subject is liberalism, eclecticism, traditionalism, commas between. Liberalism, comma, eclecticism, comma, traditionalism, comma. No comma. I'll cut that out.
The middle one
Eclecticism.
means you can choose between the first and third one. Isn't that right? That's just an axiomatic thing. So you can choose between liberalism and traditionalism if you are eclectic.
Can you not be both?
That's what I just said.
No, I mean, can you be liberal and traditional?
Yes,
combined?
what I meant by choose
Right.
is not one or the other.
Right.
If you're eclectic, you can cherry pick bits from one or the other, rather like belief in the supernatural, or, as I prefer to call it, religion. You can read any religious text. You can read the Old Testament, which is utterly abhorrent, and you can cherry pick things from the New Testament. You can cherry pick the good bits, the really humanitarian and humanistic bits from the Quran, or Judaism, or any of the other thousands of religions out there. You can cherry pick bits you quite like, or cherry pick things which are relevant, and you can ignore the others. You look at the Talmud or the Torah, and there is. My point is there have been throughout history thousands of religions, paganistic, and there are sort of three main ones at the moment, and subdivisions and fundamentalism in all of them, and liberalism. Liberalism, which is not the same as libertarianism, that's quite different. Traditionalism is sort of more clearly, I think, understood as a word and a thematic. Would you agree?
I would say that surely as British people, aren't we a mixture of the liberal and the traditional? And I think that that's maybe where things are going a bit askew with social media. You have to pick a side. And it's very sort of like a binary choice. Are you this or that, right or left, black or white, yes, no, that sort of thing. Surely most people are a mixture of the two. I mean, I can think of things where I'm extremely liberal and leaning so far to the left, but on the other hand, I am a bit
You're a Nazi.
Well, I am a Nazi. They're not happy bedfellows.
Well, no, but if you take the best bits of... Sorry, that's a rabbit hole. If you take the best bits of Nazism, I'm talking about the couture here, and some of the architecture. The rest, no, I say no to that. Liberalism.
It was Hugo Boss, wasn't it, who designed the uniforms for the SS?
That's right, yeah.
Hugo Boss.
Hugo Boss.
As in Hugo Boss.
As in the actual Hugo Boss, yes.
Heavens. I didn't know that, Al, thank you. And I'm sure lots of people didn't. Was he also, therefore, a perfumier? Did the SS smell, with upper sense of cedarwood? And,
all his perfume factories were so busy cranking out Zyklon B that you could barely know.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
But I'm going to pick Paul up on something here. Because
go on.
I want to pick you up on Zyklon B. You can't just throw that away with your foul and impenetrable mind. I don't think that's transmissible, except to say that Zyklon A was, of course,
it was a detergent powder.
It was a washing powder.
Yeah.
Yes, we'll leave all that.
But Paul has made something of an error here in his description of himself as liberal and left-leaning. Conflating liberal and left-leaning is a shibboleth of American politics, and it's a mistake.
Okay, if you may, so it sounds patronising, but I want to be reminded of the real meaning of shibboleth.
Shibboleth is it's a notion that is commonly spoken but not accurate.
Okay, thank you.
So there's a conflation of left with liberal, and in fact the opposite of liberal is not right-wing, it is authoritarian. Liberalism is the underscoring principle of Western liberal democracy, which is that the individual and their human rights are the most important aspect of a political sphere. Whereas the right and the left are essentially economic philosophies. So the Nazis were right-wing and authoritarian, so not liberal. But the Stalinists were left-wing and authoritarian, so not liberal.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
liberal and left-wing are two different things.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And also, Stalinism and Nazism had much in common.
Yes,
as
of
I
course.
think which is what you were saying.
The horseshoe of
And,
philosophy.
so in
that's
I
that
right.
suppose
sense-
what I'm thinking really is the fact that it is this polarisation that we have now, which we've probably all encountered, haven't we? Which is that you are a lefty, which is a bad thing, or you are a right-wing fascist, which is a bad thing. But the idea of sort of a middle ground, which is maybe based on discussion or something.
Saying a right-wing fascist is, of course, a tautology.
Absolutely.
Fascism is a right-wing... You can be authoritarian and left-wing, but you can't be fascist and left-wing because it's a right-wing philosophy.
But we've just, haven't we just agreed that Stalinism...
Is authoritarian, but it's not fascist.
No, but the similarity between
Yes.
Nazism and Stalinism,
Yes, yes.
in that they're both authoritarian,
They're both authoritarian.
and despotic.
Yes, absolutely, yeah. So, but it would not be correct to call Stalin a fascist because he was a left. Fascism was invented by Mussolini and Giovanni Gentile, and
Yes.
they said it
And
was
they
the
were-
opposite of Marxian socialism.
Yes,
that the
and
20th century would be the century of the right wing, and they should know because they fucking invented it.
This
That's
is
right.
true, yeah.
And of course, carrying on your point, Stalin, his uniforms for the soldiers were by Coco Chanel.
That's right, yeah.
That's right. Whereas the current Liberal Party in England, a lot of people know they are dressed by the late great Vivian Westwood,
Didn't know
which
that.
reflects their policies.
It is a clear reflection.
It is.
I only found out recently that Max Factor was a real person, not just a brand of makeup. Max Factor was...
I didn't know that.
Max Factor was Lucille Ball's makeup artist
I thought,
on I Love
I thought you
Lucy.
were going to say Max Factor was Lucille Ball.
Underneath the makeup, a stunning ginger hair.
Was it his or her real name, Max Factor?
I've not checked that, but certainly that was the name that the artist went under at the time. This is 1951.
Yes. You would assume it's just maximum factor, wouldn't you?
would.
It's just a slogan.
Yeah,
But-
and you'd think possibly, but then with Americans, you can never be sure.
That's true. Their naming conventions are
so
odd.
his right, if he was christened or baptised, I named this child Maximilian,
Or Maxine, possibly.
Maxine. Oh no, it was a man.
It was a chap, yeah.
Oh, is it a chap? Okay.
So Maximilian, but if he was a liberal, his parents were liberal, it might be Maxine Patricia Factor. I'm not sure whether Factor might have been his surname.
Possibly not. But I think it's not necessarily accurate that we're assuming there's a conflict between liberalism and traditionalism. But of course, the liberal tradition in Britain grows out of the Enlightenment. So it's a 300-year-old philosophy as it is. So following liberalism is a tradition. The great liberal philosopher was John Stuart Mill, the Scot, who was one of the early Enlightenment voices for the redistribution of power from the state and the church to the individual in the political sphere.
Right, Al. One, thank you for dragging us back to the subject.
You're
And
welcome.
two, it's all very well being bright, but not all of us have that gift. I don't, Paul does, you do. And don't show off, because it diminishes my already crumbling self-esteem. And I see in your eyes that you enjoy it. Those satanic Nazi Stalinist glares you give me. You smell of Hugo Boss, you dress like Coco Chanel, and I like it.
But I mean, I'm with Paul. I would consider myself certainly very liberal on many things and left-wing on many others. But there are certainly opinions that I hold that Adolf Hitler would go, that might be a bit much. I mean, I think people who allow their dogs to foul the pavement near schools should be made to eat it.
I'm with you there. There's nothing extreme about that at all. I'm absolutely.
Well,
fine
it's
with
an
that.
acquired taste, apart from anything, as well as a social responsibility.
I may have got
we
the
go
idea
back
from a
to
John Waters film.
John Waters, divine, yes, really. He was very shy in real life, and this magnificent creation he did in that John Waters film. John Waters said, "Look, we're going to film a dog defecating. Could you just pick it up and eat it?" And he said, "Oh, sure." And that happened, and it's on film. And
Kids, don't try this at home.
no, don't try it at home. One, I'm not talking from experience, but I've heard it doesn't taste good, and also there are many parasitic diseases, some of which are quite hard to treat.
is an excellent.
You can go blind from the parasitic worms.
Well,
in bogged.
toxoplasmosis
Yeah.
is more a feline thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, somebody
But don't
ran-
try it anyway. And the same goes with cat shit or any animal shit.
Probably
and
best.
human shit, because they have
Oh,
cysts
I believe horse shit is quite clean. That's why
to eat.
you use it as manure, because it doesn't contain dangerous parasites.
We're
or
talking
disease.
about eating, though, aren't we?
Well, you eat the things you grow in horse manure, don't you?
So yeah, okay, you win. Paul.
Tim Brooke Taylor.
No,
In
no,
19
he doesn't. He doesn't do that.
I will qualify this. In 1972, was shooting The Goodies, and they were filming
yes!
the most famous episode, which is Kitten Kong.
Oh, wow.
And they were in Regent's Park for filming, and they had a tiny, tiny baby kitten, a beautiful, fluffy thing. And they made a fake one as well. And the idea was that this was super powerful kitten, and it started dragging Tim Brooke Taylor all over the park. And he's got a pretend kitten on the end of a lead, so he can go up trees and all that. And then at one point he falls forward, and the cat drags him. And of course, the way they did that was basically stop motion. So he's lying there. They take a couple of frames, and then he's got to inch forward a couple of frames, and it's a big wide shot. And it took half an hour to actually get the shot, but of course it's on screen for about 3 seconds. And with the beautiful thing that is restoration of film now, you can see, if you slow it down, he starts going across, being dragged apparently across the stage, the screen, and suddenly here, a brown dot emerges, and it's because a dog just walked in, evacuated right in his path, and nobody noticed. And he was dragged over it. Got the Montreux Rose, that did. I don't know if it was purely for that or the rest of it.
Oh, what did you? Didn't the kitten also, out of nowhere, topple the Empire State Building?
It was the Post Office Tower.
The Post Office Tower,
Yes.
thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, excellent programme. So good the BBC wiped it and had to get a copy sent back from France.
Well,
Well, here we are. Final ramble awaits us. The numbers are
8, 1, 0.
810, and that means the subject is American literature in English. American literature in English.
That's a relief, because I know fuck all about Native American English literature.
I do. There's a novel in Navajo,
Yeah.
which was used, of course, to break the Enigma code.
Yes, what were they called? Ghost whisperers? It wasn't to break the Enigma code. It was the fact that there was nobody in the old world who spoke any of the Native American languages. So if two people talked in Sioux or Navajo, there was literally no way for the Germans to, even if they intercepted everything they said, they couldn't possibly translate it because they didn't speak the language.
That's right.
Oh.
Novels.
Ghost Talkers.
That's
Not
right.
Ghost Whisperers. That was a fucking terrible show with Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Okay.
You could do that
Hello,
now.
Jennifer, if you're listening.
If you're listening,
It's
hope you're
only an opinion, and hope you're well.
I
Bye
didn't
now.
say she was bad in it. I said the show was bad.
Yeah, you're
She wasn't
backtracking
great.
now. She was awful.
Yeah.
But American literature, are there any that stand out immediately as sort of like books which you would say, read that one?
Oh, Lord. Where to start? I mean, if you are easily pleased, go straight to Mickey Spillane. I would say if you are of a male gay, I was going to say bent, no, persuasion, then Edmund White is a magnificent author. The Beautiful Room is Empty. Oh no, it's not just a gay, it's just, he's a wonderful writer. Also, States of Desire is a fascinating pre-AIDS treatise, really, on male homosexual sexuality. Mark Twain. There's one. That's an impossible question. And they're just the first three. Al?
There's a quote attributed to Mark Twain. I think you might like, Tony. You probably already know it, but it's he's talking about religion, and he says, "Faith is believing something you know damn well ain't so."
Well, there we go.
Is it Mark Twain though? Because it seems that everything is attributed to Mark Twain.
Yes.
Ambrose Bierce.
Yes.
I loved Ambrose Bierce when I was a teenager. The Devil's Dictionary. There's a line of his I drag out every time there's election, which is his definition of the word vote. Vote. Noun. The symbol and tool of a free man's power to make a fool of himself and a wreck of his country.
Oh, I love that. Have you read Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas?
Yes.
Hunter S. Thompson.
Absolutely remarkable. When Terry Gilliam came to make the film of it, the film is beautiful. The hallucinating scenes, the way they are done is incredible.
Some of Johnny Depp's best work.
Yeah, and Gilliam said all I had to do was take the words and put them on the screen. It is so well written, the way it describes those experiences, that it was a simple job of just film that. And it was done. I think that's a wonderful book. I'd recommend that to anyone.
Talking of hallucinatory novels, there's of course William Burroughs.
Oh gosh, yes.
I'm sorry, the title escapes me.
Naked Lunch? The Ticket
Lunch.
That Exploded? The Soft Machine?
Quite. I'm afraid I've only read The Naked Lunch, but if you are lucky enough to be able to read and think, which is quite a rarity nowadays.
Recent polls show that 54% of adult Americans read at the 10-year-old reading pathway.
That's right.
And a third of them can't read that well.
That's depressing and sad, but William Burroughs is... The Naked Lunch is quite the thing.
It's quite impressionistic, isn't it?
It's very fleeting and very outrageous, but fantastic read.
Philip K. Dick, of course.
Cool.
Great science fiction writer.
Yes.
Some of his books, Dr. Blood Money, where it basically has three false starts in the plot. It starts off being about atomic war, and then it's about something else. And then he decides it's a third thing altogether. He uses up so many ideas, just firing them onto the page.
So is that just because he was writing and would have got... Or is that part of the plot, the fact that you've got these three false starts?
I think it's partly that he kind of emerged from the pulp tradition where you got paid by the word. So it didn't...
Right.
L. Ron Hubbard, of course, didn't really matter what he wrote, provided he was writing enough words, because he got 2 cents per word or something like
Sorry,
that.
Al. Did you say paid by the word?
The early pulp writers were paid by the word, which is why they just hammered out first drafts that went on forever.
Wow.
The same is true, I don't know if it still is, but Mills and Boon used to pay by the word, but they also had a very, very, very strict word count. So it was a way of actually controlling and making sure you got the product that you want. So you will be paid to the word. I don't know if the same is true of Barbara Cartland.
Well, talking of Nazis, yes. Barbara Cartland, yes. The longest entry, it comes about a third of the book, Who's Who. She just lists... It's like, yeah, and gee, have you ever read one?
No, but I looked her up for the show notes of another of these, and I discovered that she is known to have written 763 novels.
And they're all the same.
Yeah, well, they'd have to be, wouldn't they? How else could you get that many out?
And we use the word novel loosely.
Loosely. Well, novel, singular, just with 763 different titles.
That's right.
Just occasionally, though, you do get a pulp novel that works, and there's a beautiful one that was a British one, to go away from America for a moment, but which was turned into the film The Wicked Lady.
With
Margaret Rutherford.
Margaret Rutherford. She never left her mole in the glove compartment. She always had it with her.
Explain.
Well, there's a Victoria Wood sketch where the pie crust players are doing Hamlet, and it's just Julie Walters saying, well, I think there's a bit of a stir when the pie crust players, and we'll just go, yes, Jane, you're quite good on the words, but no moles again. There's no excuse for... Yes, well, I'm sure Margaret and Lockwood never left her in the glove compartment. Yes, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. I think the character. I don't think it's too, Trixie the tandem coming on. It's Hamlet after all, and it's got to be fun. And also, when you say, pears, rosemary, that's for remembrance. It's no good coming on stage and just hucking some herbs around saying, don't mind me, I'm a loony. This is Shakespeare we're talking about. It's not Harold Pinter where you can get away with anything as long as you leave enough gaps. Sorry, had we got to moulds?
Yeah, sorry, I got that.
Margaret
Lockwood.
The Wicked Lady.
Yeah,
yes.
Which interesting. There you go, Tony. 50 years after The Wicked Lady was filmed, you were in that studio because it was filmed at Lime Grove.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was Lime Grove. Gainsborough Pictures.
Yes, Gainsborough. And that started with the lady in the big hat nodding slightly.
And that's Margaret Lockwood.
That's not.
That's her. The first film it's used in is The Wicked Lady.
Wow.
So they got her to do the pose, and then they put it at the start of every film, and she got paid every time.
Good.
There you are.
Quite right.
Yes. Well,
American literature. Ken Casey, of course, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
yes.
Oh, wow.
Fantastic novel.
Yeah, remarkable novel.
I saw a brilliant 1-star review for that on Amazon, which just read, it's all right if you like books about crazy people.
Oh, dear.
Well, here we are back in the shed. Our rambles once more ended for this week. But Tony, did you enjoy your ramble? That was wide-ranging, wasn't it?
It certainly was. My goodness. It was like a centrifuge which was working in a really odd way, going in two different ways, circles, and everything was flying out of it.
Absolutely. Just as it should be.
It was like the storm had passed over again.
It was,
Yeah.
absolutely. There we were, sort of enjoying that clarity just for a little while.
Clarity is pushing it. Enjoyment. Let's stick with that.
We'll just go with that.
We aim for vaguely lucid. Clarity is a lot to us.
It is, yeah. Well, thank you all for listening, and we hope that you enjoyed this week's meeting of the Rambling Club.
Yes, the club meets every Friday, but if you'd like to get in touch with us in the meantime, here's how you can find us and your fellow members.
Tony's official website is at www.tonyslattery.com, and you can get in touch with us on the contact form on that website.
We're also on Twitter, despite the exodus, at Slattery Live. Use the hashtag TSRC to discuss this week's topics if you'd like.
I'm on Twitter too, at Paul Carmichael V.
And Tony also has a Facebook group, which is at www.facebook.com/groups/TheTonySlattery.
Oh, and we should also say we are on Blue Sky as well, aren't we? So you can find us on Blue Sky. We're ever growing there. And also on Instagram at Tony_Slattery_official.
That's right. And if people want to join the Rambling Club for themselves, Paul, how would they do that?
Well, they head to www.patreon.com/Slattery Live. We would be absolutely delighted to welcome you. And there's all sorts of perks on there for members. So members are currently a couple of weeks ahead, and we'll know who the next few special guests are. Members even had exclusive access to a reading of a ghost story for Christmas that Tony did a few weeks ago. There's all sorts of things, odds and ends that you can find there. Quite some surprises. So head to www.patreon.com/Slattery Live and have a look.
Yeah, and of course you know the drill with podcasts. If you could head to your podcast app and leave us a short review with plenty of stars, that would be very much appreciated.
It would. So, Tony, you will of course be back to lead us on another ramble next Friday at 5 to 5, and we hope that you'll join us again. But until then, in the meantime, it's a goodbye from me, Paul Carmichael. It's a goodbye from Mr. Alan Lear.
Goodbye.
And it's a goodbye from the president of the Rambling Club, Mr. Tony Slattery.
Goodbye, and thank you for listening.
You have been listening to Tony Slattery's Rambling Club with your host, the club president, Tony Slattery. He was accompanied by Stephen Free as the voice of the bingo machine. Tony was assisted by Paul Carmichael and Alan Lear. The music was composed and performed by Michael Lavery and Andy Frizel. Silly voices are by Michael Lavery and the show concept is by Paul Carmichael. Our producers are Stuart Morris and Alan Dibing, and the show série producée is Eric Allier. Or executive producée is Chris Castle, and the série executive producée is Mark Strickson. Tony Slattery's Rambling Club is a Fanfanitel production.